The slogan on the lectern read, "For Europe, for Deutschland," as Merkel read a sermon to the CDU party. She said, "We're in the greatest crisis since 1945 in terms of Europe," and Obama also gave his support to Merkel by saying that the Europeans need to sort out their problems and that we will do everything we can to help them. This was not echoed completely by David Cameron. David Cameron declared himself a skeptic at the Guildhall and said that he would like to retake powers away from Brussels back to Eurosceptic Britain. Apparently we're supposed to be Eurosceptic, but it was England and Germany's university system which created the Eurozone, and before that European Union after 1945, when the victorious British armies defeated Nazi Germany and stopped the Soviet Union from increasing its power and eventually taking over Western Europe. This was prevented by the British, and they put in their norms of English law and of parliamentary democracy in Germany. So Merkel is now also in a conflict with Sarkozy, because a technical solution to the problem of the Eurozone debt would be for quantitative easing by the ECB, the European Central Bank. But quantitative easing simply means printing money. And it was the Federal Reserve's printing of money in the first place which got us into the debt spiral that Europe is in, because, of course, the Federal Reserve lent to Greece, lent to other countries, and exported their inflation to Europe through the money markets and banks. It was also Lehman Brothers which also set off a whole scale of problems, and if you want to know more about that, look at my my video, Lehman Brothers, Case of Economic and Moral Uncertainty. Now, the problem for the Germans is again a historical one. Merkel's knowledge of history is actually quite accurate, because the inflationary policy of the Weimar Republic after the armistice, which was supposed to be a ceasefire between the German Reich, the German Empire, and the Allies who had invaded Germany in 1914, and Russia had invaded Germany in 1914 after Germany's support of Austria against Serbia, which killed Austria's Archduke Ferdinand, although there are other reasons for it. The industrial rise of Germany and the reason that the British gave, of course, was that they had to defend Belgium. So all these different historical aspects are still in the German mindset, and the Weimar Republic, of course, is increased inflation led to Germany becoming like a third world country, and this allowed Hitler and other extreme parties, the communists and the National Socialists, to rise to power. As the case shows, sentiments against foreigners and other such things are still within Germany because of the case of neo-Nazi groups who have killed 10 Turkish street vendors over the past 10 years. So there is a political scandal in Germany about that. But those two people who had links with the German Secret Service apparently committed suicide with headshots to their head, and they were found in a burnt house. One woman with a pistol was arrested. That will be for another video to explain. So Merkel's got a lot on her plate, but the problem for the Germans is they have this nightmare of central bankers being so independent that they can produce unlimited amounts of currency, thus devaluing the euro and going against the rules which Germany has imposed on itself, which has led to it being the world's biggest exporter. And the Germans don't want to be captive to financial investors who are at the moment making public speeches against the Eurozone, lending to Eurozone banks, and when the Eurozone banks can't complete their loans, repay their loans, they are then selling those loans onto the credit default swap market, and those hedge funds, which are mostly based in Dallas and the United States, with close links to the Federal Reserve and other nefarious organisations and crime families, are then claiming insurance on the credit default swap when it doesn't mature. In effect, they've insured something which they don't own, and so they're claiming the insurance money and then putting it into the gold market, which causes the gold price to rise as the demand increases by these hedge funds, and thus makes people more uncertain about the Eurozone. It is a vicious cycle, you know. And so, because of the fact that, as Carl Bass said, he said, "It's not my fault, Gov. It's he was one of the hedge funds managers. That it's the banks in Europe which are leveraged out 3 times more than the United States." Because that's partly true, because the Europeans bailed the United States out in 2009 with $14.7 trillion. The United States hasn't returned the favour in any magnitude anywhere near. And the problem thus goes back to the question of whether the ECB will be like the Federal Reserve, able to print money and be the lender of last resort, or like the Bank of England in a similar way, or whether the ECB will be simply there to buy bonds from the Italian and Greek debt markets to prevent them from defaulting on those loans. That is, in a sense, printing money, but in a more secure way. And of course, this led to the defeat of Papandreou and Berlusconi in various votes, and those two fellows retired from the scene of politics. But they were what was put in their place was people who are very well respected economists. I have no problem with that. Mario Monti in Italy and Lucas Papademos in Greece. But the problem for me is, as Eurozone, for the Eurozone, as Euronews said, is that there are close links with the Goldman Sachs and American financial establishment, which has links to MIT and other universities in the United States. This has some historical reasons behind it, in my view. The United States has several bases in Italy. It wants somebody who has experience between both being a European Commissioner in the case of Mario Monti, and also somebody who is raised in the American establishment as well. So those two figures, Mario Monti and Lucas Papademos, the new Greek Prime Minister, have close links to the United States. It is, in a sense, sharing influence between Europe and the United States, although Mario Monti has been a European Commissioner and strongly supports the Euro. Is this an alliance between the United States, or is it tension in Europe, or is there tension between the United States and Europe over the southern European countries? That's difficult to tell, but you can sense that Merkel's unease, that Mario Draghi has decreased the value of the euro by making, which has made European exports more competitive. Yeah.